Question number 21. Here the interviewer is trying to understand, do you have enough knowledge to tell the key differences between monthly and annual billing? That's like a quite straightforward question. But hey, what if somebody asks you this question? How do you answer that? So let me help you understand that. So obviously, monthly billing is nothing but you pay month to month, and annual billing is where you have an ability to pay once in every year, which you can define when you want to pay for it. To give you a bit more clarity, in the monthly billing, even though you can pay month on month basis, what I want to tell you are the couple of key points which you can tell, because this is an obvious question, right? Monthly billing, pay monthly; annual billing, you pay annually. But what else can you add on top of it is, for a monthly billing, this offers flexibility, allowing business to change or cancel plans anytime. With annual billing, even if you make a decision to not having enough licenses, you have already paid for it, or you're already committed to pay for annual billing. You can't have that, you don't have that flexibility to move things around. So even though it provides you that flexibility in terms of changing or canceling the plan at any time, typically the cost is more when you pay monthly compared to annual plan. So that is something you need to be aware of. Additional points on annual billing is, here you are committing to a 12 months plan, but while committing, like I said, this is less expensive compared to monthly planning, a monthly plan, and this is recommended for business who have an understanding about their business, and they know that in the long term strategy they have good stability in terms of understanding how many licenses they need. They would typically go with the annual billing model because they get cheaper pricing compared to the monthly one, and they know that, oh hey, I know that I need 100 licenses or 1,000 licenses next financial year. They anticipate that they add along with their billing. The next point you can add is, some plans allows annual prepayment for additional saving. Even though I said that you pay annually, if you sometimes pay pre-annually, like it's called prepayment. Let's suppose you're supposed to pay $100. Maybe the prepayment offer may be $80. I don't know if that example helps, but that's another discount you can get for some annual plans. But the problem with the annual plan is, when you cancel in between your term, then that may result in penalties, or sometimes you may not get refund, things like that. I don't know the more details, but that could be another thing you need to consider. So now you have extra points in terms of understanding how the monthly billing and the annual billing and things like that work. Let's look at question number 22. Here, the question is, hey, some company want to purchase Microsoft 365 for 500 employees. By looking at this, immediately you know that this cannot be a business plan, because business plan only allows you to buy 300. So now you're learning lots of things. Now you immediately spot, oh, hey, 500, it's an enterprise plan, not a business plan, things like that. So now the question is, what are the available purchasing options and which would be the best fit? So it is trying to test your knowledge on different available purchasing option. That is the key question here. What are the different purchasing option and what would be the best fit? So let's see if I can help you answer that question. First and foremost, you already know that any customer can go directly to Microsoft website and purchase it. That is direct purchase. But that plan is only best suitable for any small business with simple licensing need. And the plans are mostly for employees up to 300 users. And enterprise customers can have unlimited number of users. Those are the differences you need to understand. Direct purchase. The second one is cloud solution provider, which I kind of introduced you in the previous question or the one before that, is which allows you flexible billing and dedicated support through Microsoft partners. So these partners can come in and help you wrap around their services and give you additional managed services. So if that is what you're looking at and you want a flexible billing model, a monthly payment option, that which I kind of forgot to mention the couple of points questions below. Cloud solution provider plans allow you to pay monthly as well. So that is a flexible offer. And this allows businesses to purchase additional services like Azure or security add-ons, and you can club multiple things together, not only Microsoft 365. So this is recommended for organization needing customized solution. This is what you look at. The third option is enterprise agreement or volume licensing. This is suitable for organizations with 500 or more users, because when you go through this enterprise agreement, usually it comes with bulk discounts and centralized license management. I don't know about the discounting and how it works, but what I heard is like when you go through the enterprise agreement, there are opportunities for you to go into a negotiation to get better discounts for your deal. And typically, that comes with you needing to have a contractual agreement for 1 or 3 years. I still don't know about that detail, but that requires you to have a commitment, because you're getting some cost savings. Because if you back out of that commitment, you might need to pay the penalty, or the may not be refunded, things like that. So that is something you need to understand. I did put a link in this particular section to talk more or understand more about cloud solution provider licensing. Here you can come and read more about that licensing agreement and things like that. Let's look at question number 23. Here, the interviewer is trying to gauge your understanding in terms of they want to buy additional licenses for security and compliance. That's the key question. And what they primarily want to know is, do you know the knowledge about add-on licensing option, which you kind of learned, I think 5 or 8 questions before. Like there are different ways you can add on licensing and how it works. So that's what they are trying to test here. So your knowledge on that. So how can you answer this question? You can tell that, hey, if they are an E3 customer, you already know that anything with E3 or E5 or F3, they are an enterprise level customer. So they have more users, definitely more than 300 users, maybe around more than 500 or maybe 10,000 users. Currently they are E3, so they get some security functionality, but they are looking at additional security. So what are the additional security things you can tell? You can tell, hey, you can either use Microsoft Defender, which has plan 2, which provide additional protection around your mailboxes, things like that. There is Microsoft Purview Compliance Suite, which offer a suite of products which include a lot of capabilities like data loss prevention, risk management, advanced e-discovery, and things like that for your compliance need. Or you can tell, hey, you can go for Microsoft Teams Phone or Power BI Pro licenses. Like Microsoft Teams Phone provide you with enterprise voice calling, and that integrates with Microsoft Teams for your VoIP services. And Power BI Pro, it's another additional capability which you can add, which enhances your business intelligence and reporting within your Microsoft 365. So this actually kind of like flexing and showing your knowledge in terms of what additional thing you can proactively tell, because the question is intended towards checking your knowledge on add-on licensing. First of all, do you have that? Second, whatever add-ons you know about it, E5 plans, what is not part of E3, just throw all of that bits in, because that's where you're flexing and showing your whole Microsoft knowledge in terms of additional product knowledge or security product knowledge, things like that. So that's how you answer this particular question. In the next section, we are going to go through the Microsoft 365 apps, which include Word Online, Excel Online, Outlook, then Teams, etc. All of that application comes as part of the bundle when you buy these M365 apps. So question number 24. The question is, a company wants to understand the difference between Microsoft 365 apps for business and Microsoft 365 apps for enterprise. So they are looking at, do you know the difference between these two apps, one for business and one for enterprise? And how would you explain the difference? So first and foremost, both of these plans provide these core Office applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and you would be able to install it on your device, and that device could be a Windows device or a Mac operating system or your mobile device. You will have eligibility to use or install this application to use the services which it provides. That is first and foremost the thing you need to understand. The next thing what you should be knowing about is the difference in terms of feature. So we've been learning that any sort of business plan will offer only up to 300 users. Enterprise plan offers the users to use it for unlimited number of users. So that is something you need to be aware of. In the enterprise features, you get additional um, compliance and information protection. So I haven't touched based on information protection so far. So let me quickly give you what it is. Information protection allows organization to define these policies, and users can leverage these policies. It comes in the shape of information rights management. It On a very simplistic term, what it does is it allows the user to define permission on a particular document before sharing it to anybody. So I can decide, I created this Excel sheet, but I want to share it with so and so, but they can only view this file, or they can only read the information on a until a particular day, or they cannot forward it to anybody else. If I'm sharing an email with somebody, that forward button is disabled. So all of that can be controlled. First of all, admin can create it using information protection, and then users can leverage that on any assets they create internally. So those sort of things is not available as part of the business plan. The next one is shared computer activation. So first of all, in the business plan, that is not even allowed. We kind of talked about this shared computer scenario when we discussed about the two different licensing options, the user-based licensing and device-based licensing. The device-based licensing, if the customer have this RDS VDI deployments available, then enterprise plan enable them to actually use these apps on these shared devices as well. Some of the plans need additional purchasing of teams. If it is a business plan, not all, some. The teams is basically included in all enterprise plan. Pricing, we already talked about it. It's considered lower cost compared to the higher cost which comes with the enterprise, but they can go through various mechanism like prepaying or like locking it for a few years to get extra discounts on the enterprise plan. In this particular article, it explains what is Microsoft 365 apps for enterprise and what are the privileges it gets. You can see that you get all of these applications. One additional thing I forgot to mention is you can install up to 5 PCs, 5 tablets, and 5 mobile devices. That's a great option for users if they are using multiple devices for their day-to-day work. And additionally, it provides 1 terabytes of storage capacity for users to store their files and data in the OneDrive for business. And customers can opt for Fast Track. Fast Track is a service which Microsoft provide additional guidance and support in terms of their adoption or enablement of these services within their organization. So that's a quick overview about what are Microsoft 365 business apps and how you can answer these sort of questions. Let us look into question number 25. So here what we are trying to do is we are trying to eliminate the answer to find the right one. So the question is, which of the following is not a feature available in the Microsoft 365 Word? This should be quite fairly straightforward. So if you are familiar with Word, Word is a document canvas where you will be able to create new content, modify it, edit it, share it, customize it, things like that. So, does Word provide real time collaboration with co authoring? 100% yes. You can go to Word and you would be able to share that with other people. So, you would be able to collaborate on Word at the same time. The second option is, can you do smart lookup for web based research? So, during the document creation, or you are trying to find something from internet, does Word allow you to look up certain things from the internet? Yes, it does. What about data modeling and pivot table? So that is a functionality which, if you are looking to do, you would potentially look into Excel to do these sort of data modeling and pivot tables, not in the Word. So the answer for this question is C. Well, that's the wrong answer for the Word. Let's look at the next option. Dictation for hands-free typing. Yes, Word allows you to do dictation so that you don't have to type in your content. You can basically talk to it and it can capture that information. So that is a feature of Word. So let's look at the correct answer. The data modeling and pivot table is part of Excel. So if you want to learn more about the Word features, click on this link. It tells you what are the latest features. What you see over here in the screen is ability to utilize or use Copilot in Word, because with Copilot you get enhanced features. Not only with Word, all the Microsoft 365 application, you would be able to create content with the help of Copilot, draft content, modify it, customize it, things like that. So please have a look into this, and we can click on what's new, watch the video and things like that to understand the new features, not only for Word, all other applications as well. Let's look at question number 26. The question is trying to understand, do you know what is the real-time collaboration work in Microsoft 365 app like Word, Excel, PowerPoint work? So first and foremost, you need to understand that these applications you can actually create and share with anybody. Real-time collaboration is nothing but it allows you to work simultaneously with other collaborators while you are editing or modifying the document. So if I'm working on an Excel sheet, if I want input from anybody else, I would be able to share a copy of that to somebody with the right permission to edit or things like that. When I do that, the other collaborator can open that Excel file with the data in it, and they can provide their input or delete it, modify it, depends on what rights I provided. That is called real-time collaboration. That is available across Microsoft 365 applications, especially with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. That is how you should answer. You can provide additional points, which I will mention that right now. So let me populate that on the screen. You can talk about additional thing. It does come with cloud storage. So the cloud storage are things like OneDrive for Business. That is like the personal cloud storage. So with the Excel file and the Word file I'm talking about, first and foremost, you need to store that in the cloud storage. It could be in OneDrive for Business, or you can store it in SharePoint as well. That allows any additional user from real-time collaboration. Second is live editing. This is kind of what I mentioned before. So users can see each other's changes in real time. When I mentioned about you having an ability to share that file with someone else, when that other person try to modify the document, you will be able to see where they are making changes in a live editing format. At the same time, the other person will be able to see that, hey, you're also open the document, you're working on this particular cell, or you're this particular slide, things like that. That's called live editing. Additionally, you can tag or comment or mention other people within your organization. So if you want someone else to work on a particular part of the document, you can add the rate mention. So when you put the add the rate, it allows you to put a name of a person within your organization. So that first of all send them a notification as an email or a Teams notification with the link to access that particular part of the document. So when they click on it, it takes them directly to the place or a part of the document where you had mentioned them, and from there onwards they can either read the comment or they can action whatever you have asked them to action it, and they can leave their comment as well. So that is another part of real-time collaboration in this application. The next or the last point is the version history. So whenever you make these changes, you will be able to track the previous edits. So this allows user to restore to earlier version if you need it. So these are the points you need to consider along with what I told before. So kind of first and foremost, yes, it allows the real-time collaboration, and add in these key points like cloud storage, live editing. You will be able to comment and mention people, or you can go back to previous history in case if you want to revert back to a previous copy. Let's look at question number 27. Here, the interviewer is trying to understand, do you know the benefits of using Microsoft 365 Excel's Power Query and Power Pivot for data analysis? So again, I'm not an expert in Excel. Whenever I had to do this Power Pivot or pivot table and VLOOKUP, I look at the videos or instruction on how to do that. Now I co-pilot it. I go to Excel and I tell in my natural language, this is what I'm trying to do, and Copilot is intelligent enough to like create these formulas to make that happen. So it is like a godsend technology to me in terms of boosting my productivity. To help you answer the question, so let me first populate the information. First and foremost, Power Query and Power Pivot are the mechanisms which you can use to enhance your data transformation and analysis in Excel. That is how you should answer that, because these are enhancement which you can do to transform your data. So let me help you understand what is this Power Query all about. So Power Query is something which you can use to automate the data extraction and transformation and loading, which is the ETL from multiple sources. And this supports any sort of merging and cleaning large data set effectively. So if you are working with a huge amount of data set, this is ideally what you would want to use to first of all either to merge or either to clean up data effectively. So what is Power Pivot? Power Pivots allows creating data models and relationship across different tables. So you can use the DAX. DAX is data analysis expressions, which can be used for any sort of advanced calculations. And this can handle millions of rows without showing any down performance. So together with these two tools, you can make use of Excel as a powerful business intelligence solution. So that's how you should be. If anybody asks anything about like this, and you should be answering in such a way that it is definitely enhancing the capability of the person by using these particular options available within Excel, to boost their productivity or ease of their day-to-day work by having these sort of controls available within the software. Let's look at question number 28. So here the interviewer is trying to understand what are the PowerPoint designers. So they're trying to test, do you know about the designer and the presenter coach, and how do they enhance the presentation? So first and foremost, these questions you can probably understand now that it was asking about basic features and functionality within this application. Like it was asking things like for Word, Excel, now the feature of PowerPoint. And PowerPoint comes with certain functionality. The one is Designer. Designer helps you with automatic suggestion with layout, things like that. So let me populate that so that you understand. So first and foremost, the PowerPoint Designer. Let me see if I can quickly show you what Designer is. If you go and launch if you go and launch the PowerPoint, when you try to compose any particular information, so I can click on this test, and when you expand this ribbon, and towards the end of the ribbon under the home tab there is something called Designer. You click on it, it allows you to customize these with different templates and these suggestions. And these are automatic suggestions or design layout based on the slide content. In the backend, what it uses is it uses an AI to create a professional looking slide with minimal effort, so that you don't have to spend a lot of time creating these sort of picture things like that. It works on different slides as well. So when you have different slide with different layout, when you go under these designer, the layout immediately changes based on the type of content you might potentially add in this particular slide. So that is designer. The next one is presenter coach. So presenter coach is an ability added into PowerPoint which helps users practice presentation by providing any sort of real-time feedback on pacing, tone, filler words, and pronunciation. So while presenting, I can turn on real-time feedback or presenter coach. What it is going to do is it is going to observe the presentation throughout, and post that you would be able to ask, or you would be able to get feedback on how was the pacing throughout the session. What type of tone did you use? It again uses the AI capability in the backend to provide that sort of an assistant. So you can very well use this technology like an assistant or like a tutor helping you with a particular a problem or particular aspect of the presentation skills. And it does work in the PowerPoint online as well. So these features help users create visually engaging presentation. First and foremost, it is faster and with a better delivery skills. So that is something you need to be aware of. So kind of try to answer the question like, hey, designer is something which you can use to suggest different layouts. So you don't have to spend a lot of time creating this. Presenter coach is something which is going to help the presenter post delivery to understand how did their presentation go, like asking or getting feedback on their tone and the filler words and things like that. And ideally both of them is helping them with their crafting and post presentation things like that. That's how you should answer that. Let's look at question number 29. So in this, I think it is like an Excel, not it's an Outlook related question. So let's read out the question. The user frequently sends large email attachment. So that is a keyword, large email attachment in Outlook, which slows down the email delivery because it's a large and the slows down is quite an important term as well. What are the best practices for handling large files in Outlook? So the question is trying to understand if there is an issue in the organization with email slowdown and performance related things. Apart from looking into the service history and raising a support ticket, do you know some other troubleshooting mechanisms and things like that? So let me populate the answer and walk you down through the steps on how you can help answer that question. First and foremost, you need to understand that you need to educate the users on using the OneDrive link, because I kind of mentioned like these plans come with OneDrive access, and OneDrive have a storage capacity of 1 terabyte and it can be increased as well. But this 1 terabyte is plenty enough for users to use for their day-to-day work activities. So instead of sending the large attachment as it is, users have an ability to store that in their OneDrive and send as a link instead of an attachment. So you're basically sending a link, so that saves them a trouble of attaching a huge document. So that is the first and foremost tip. So instead of attaching large files, upload them to OneDrive and share a link. This reduces the email size and ensure recipients always have the latest version. So that is another key point as well. So if you have to change the version of something or you want to modify something, the next time you don't have to reattach the whole file again and send it across. If you send the OneDrive link, you have the copy of the source file. So whenever you modify something, you have to tell them or the recipient is to click on the link again, which give them access to the latest information or the modified version. So that is how you should tackle that part. The second is compress the attachment, the good old fashioned compressing using a zip compression. So it allows them to allow the users to reduce the size of the attachment. Third is to check the mailbox coda. So these large attachment, what it does, it reduces the mailbox storage. So users should periodically clean up the old emails and things like that. Sometimes if you don't have enough storage space in your mailbox, it sometimes can give a degraded performance. So either you can archive or delete large attached non-used email which they want to keep in their mailboxes, things like that. And the fourth point is the splitting the large files. So if an attachment must be sent, if you can't use the first two options, you can't send via a OneDrive link, or you can compress the attachment. Another option for you is to consider the splitting it into smaller parts. And if you have multiple documents, that combination of the document is probably 1 GB. What you can do is you can split that into 2 or 3 different parts and sending 3 different emails, or sending it separately. So that way, rather than downloading a single 1 GB of email into the mailbox, user could download 250 MB of 4-part email. So that's another option. So when you answer it, try to make sure you touch on all of these points, especially on the first 2 points. Like show your understanding about what is OneDrive and what OneDrive offers to sending the link, and especially land the messaging in terms of um, when you have the possession of the source file, you can always modify it. So every time they click on the link, they get the latest version of it. All right, so let's look into the next section. The next one is Exchange Online. Exchange Online is nothing but the email services of Office 365. This is the service what we all use using the Outlook mailbox to send and receive emails, look at our calendar, book an appointment, things like that. All of this is being delivered via the service called as Exchange Online. That is what you need to know about what is Exchange Online. So you know that in the Microsoft 365 suite, we have many services. So one which we learned in the previous section was the apps. Apps is one of the services, like using Word, Excel, PowerPoint, things like that. Then we have services like OneDrive for Business to store personal storage. That is a personal storage for storing data. Then we have SharePoint Online for team-wise or company-wide collaboration and storage of sources of repository for documents and other artifacts, things like that. Exchange Online is the email service of Microsoft 365. So the first question, which is the 30th question in this particular series, is the interviewer is trying to understand, do you know what is Exchange Online and how is it different from on-premises Exchange server? I don't know if there are many customers still using Exchange on-premises. Few years ago, that was the case because many of them were looking from moving from on-premises to Exchange Online, that is the Microsoft 365 SaaS-based services. Now, if there is anyone left, that could be of various scenarios, like if they want to keep it for some compliance reasons or things like that. So if you don't know anything about on-premises Exchange server, let me help you understand how we can answer that. First, you need to help them understand that you know what is the difference between Exchange Online and the on-premises. How do you answer that? You tell that, hey, Exchange Online is a cloud-based email and calendaring service. So when you say cloud-based, that include the implication that you know it is a SaaS-based offering. Because it is a cloud-based service, you don't need any hardware to install on premises to get that service. And it is part of Microsoft 365, which you already know. Then you highlight the fact that it differs from on-premises Exchange server. Let me help you understand that in various ways. Exchange Online, because it is a cloud service, you don't need any hardware. On-premises Exchange server is a hosted on customer-owned server. So to have Exchange on-premises, you need to have a hardware requirement. Second, Exchange Online maintenance and updates and all the improvements to the service is made by Microsoft. So it is automatically taken care for us. Wherein if you use Exchange on-prem, you need to download the latest software all the time from Microsoft, install it, manage it, maintain it, make sure that the service is available all the time, even during the updation period. So that is quite tricky and difficult to do it. Exchange Online is easy to scale because it's basically a license purchase and you are assigning these licenses to the user. So when you assign the license, it's easier for them to access the service. When they leave the organization, you downscale it or remove the license so they don't have access to it. The scalability aspect of Exchange on premises is limited to your hardware capacity. So if you don't have enough hardware resources, then it's very difficult for you to scale. Then it's access, like Exchange Online is a publicly available service. You can access it from anywhere and any device. Exchange on premises, you require solutions like VPN or remote access to access this. So that is quite tricky. So that's again needing additional services in your on premises to make sure that you provide that services outside. Security and compliance, there are a lot of built-in features available with Exchange Online, like um, um, threat protection, data loss prevention, e-discovery, things like that. If you want to do the same thing in your on premises, you need to configure a lot of things to make it happen. It's not by default you have these capabilities available. Backup and disaster recovery. So something goes wrong, you need to handle the mailboxes, you need to recover things like that. It is all handled by Microsoft. You don't have to do that. If you have to do that for the on-premises, you need to require a lot of backup and you need to have a different backup strategy, things like that. So how do you answer that? First and foremost, explain that Exchange Online is a cloud-based service. You don't need any hardware, and tell the differences based on the things I laid out here. That's how you answer this question.